Hey, 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 great day, everybody. I am Dr. Marrian Efua of Exponential Existence, and this is the Thursday Thought. I'm beyond excited that you can join me on today. So go ahead and take a moment and invite five more friends or share it out to five more places where they can also get to know who Dr. Marion is. Tonight's conversation is going to continue kind of similar to what we talked about this week on the Tuesday Talk, and that is understanding how to get things done. I know there's a lot going on. Trust me, there's a lot going on with all of the social justice protests that are continuing. All the trials are trying to get people convicted and processed. All those things are happening right now around that social justice movement. Additionally, we also have a return of cities and states shutting down. And for a lot of us that are in business, we're trying to figure out now, listen, we're like, listen, I've pivoted, I've created, and now what do I do? Right. And you may be getting a little disillusioned and you may feel as if you really, really not going to do this anymore. I want to invite you to go grab a quick drink, a glass of water, tea, whatever your choice is of drink. And I'm going to invite you to come back and spend some time with me. And the reason why I want you to spend time tonight, because that disillusionment that you're feeling right now is not really what you want to feel and what you can experience in this time. A second shutdown is because we obviously needed it, right? Like everyone else across the world, we needed it. So I'm inviting you to go ahead, grab a drink, and come back here on the Thursday Thought with myself, Marian Efua of Exponential Existence. Now, for those of you that are new to me, I want to tell you really briefly about my company. So, my company is a personal mastery company and a business development company. We serve individuals and businesses in supporting them in re-leveraging, repurposing their actions, their thoughts, beliefs, and practices in such a way that they're able to have holistic prosperity. That just simply means you have financial assurances, right? It means that you have quality, rewarding, and reciprocating relationships. It means that you are able to be able to have an increased awareness and activation of your spiritual connectedness. That's what I said. Connectedness. I love having to enunciate. But the point I'm making is that we are here to serve and to support you in transforming back to the individual that you were originally, before all the trauma, before all the chaos, before all the doubts, before all the worries, before all the ideas and beliefs that were just bombarded upon you that you inherited. So that's what we do here at exponentialexistence.com. I just realized that I'm coming up on 14 years of making my decision to choose to be a holistic prosperity alchemist of inner engineering. Because I realized a long time ago, after being on stages and performing and being an educator, that it's real easy to fix up the outside, right? And one of my research projects that I did was I found myself asking the question, all these schools are being renamed after famous people, but their test scores don't change and the staff is still a high turnover. So what is that about? And what I realized, it wasn't that they changed the name. It wasn't a name change that they needed. It wasn't a fresh coat of paint. It wasn't a new mural in the hallway or on the building. It was that internally, the processes, the systems that existed within that building were no longer serving the greater goal, the big goal, which was to educate, empower students to be their highest aspirations, achieving academically, increasing annually by 1.5 years. A name change wasn't going to fix that. And so tonight, as I said earlier, I really want to get into the conversation and continue that conversation from Tuesday on the Tuesday Talk that talks about what does it mean to really do things a certain way as an entrepreneur? What does that look like for you? And if you're starting to feel disillusioned and you're starting to feel frustrated and overwhelmed in this time, because as I said, we've pivoted. You pivoted. Some of us did a 360 and we got busy, we got connected, and we made things happen. But now we're going into a second season. So, how do you do that? It's called doing things a certain way. Y'all know I'm a mindset person, and a book like one of my people that I admire, Bob Proctor, I've probably read about seven versions of books that relate back to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, written in 1929. and my own works and my own studies and my own internal spiritual and emotional mental uploads from historical DNA, but just to find out. But this is one of the things they talked about. Another gentleman by the name of Wallace Waddell, when he wrote a book, he talked about how when Napoleon Hill was talking about how our mind can work and bring things forward, right? That it requires discipline. It requires faith. There are 13 principles from Think and Grow Rich. If you want to see them, I tell you what, if you make yourself known on one of my pages, just with a comment, it could be hello. It could definitely be the city and state you're listening in from. Or if you go to my website and just do my connect sheet, I'll make sure you get a free, no obligation opportunity to see the 13 laws that are found or principles that are found within Think and Grow Rich. So Wallace Waddell focused on one of them. The idea was discipline. And so one of the things he came up with is he talked about that when you study successful people, wealthy people, people that are where you are, they do things a certain way. Now I'm just going to take it away from being so harsh and remember a television show. Remember, the show was that every day somebody has to have their coffee at a certain time, or the secretary or the executive assistant is bringing them exactly, the bagel with the sandwiches cut off of with a nice tea and this and that, and this is put in this order. That's a certain way. You build the frame first, then you put on the walls, then you put on the floors, and then the last thing that goes is the ceiling. Some of us have gotten accustomed to kind of just willy-nilly in things and just getting the job done. But what we're finding is that this time around, now that we've pivoted and we've gotten created, we got to kind of repeat that same certain way. Like Waddell says, people that are successful, people that are getting the results that they desire with the frequency of what they desire, are doing so because they do things in a certain way. How would you define a certain way? Well, a certain way means that you have found a formula that works. I'm not endorsing any products, by the way, that I talk about. I'm simply just using them as a point of reference to expand upon the thoughts that have come to me here on the Thursday Thought. So there's a recipe that works, and then there's a recipe that works but doesn't really do much for you, right? You don't want to eat that. It's kind of like having a choice between Coke and Pepsi. Same simple formulas, just a variation, but they work. And they become multi-billion-dollar businesses where someone else who's making their own soda may only be a thousandaire, because the formula is there, but maybe it's not done the certain way that it needs to be done in order to attract, in order to boost your visibility, in order to highlight your wisdoms, your knowledge, your content, your ability, in order to put yourself in position to be magnetized toward more growth for yourself as well. So doing things in a certain way requires us to identify that formula. Our life is no different, whether it's your business, your love life, whether it's your health and wellness, your physical health and wellness, whether it's your spirituality, your livelihood, your money, all of those, any of those 6 areas. It requires you to have a specialized formula that allows it to get to its optimal level so it can all move in a harmonic exchange and become what we know as holistic prosperity lifestyle and an existence that is exponential. A certain way. One of the things I share often in my mentor programs and coaching programs is that you have to begin to command your day. I learned that, another thing, from watching successful people, highly successful people. I can name 1,000 books and persons that talk about the importance of you being able to command your morning and command your evening. How many of you do it? If you do that already, go ahead and drop a 1. Go ahead and drop a 1 in the comment if you are already monitoring and commanding the beginning and the end of your day. Are you starting every morning the same way? Are you taking time out to stretch? Taking time out to just pause for breath and gratitude? Are you taking time out to do real self-care for yourself? Are you taking time out to improve your awareness, your knowledge, your abilities, your physical health? Yeah, your finances. And then beginning your day, because you are the one and only that's designed to build this. You're building this beautiful, beautiful place. So this certain way is that formula. You're going to figure out what works. And what they've discovered is that people that are successful have what is known as a certain way, meaning they start their day a certain way, they end their day a certain way. They plan in self-care. And some of us may be saying, well, I work a job. I don't have time for that. I only have it for them. But then you have to minimize in some other area. It's not about either or, it's about and. So I have a 30 minutes for a lunch break. I want to read this book. So maybe I go into the lounge right away at the top of it, do what I'm going to do with my lunch, say hi to a couple folks while my food is heating up, and then say, I'll be right back, and then go back into a space and listen to your book, or stay in that space and put the things in your ears a certain way, controlling your space, your time, your ascension to where you want to be a certain way. Have you found that certain things work better when you are getting new clients? Take it away from business, taking it back personal. When you are dating, you do things in a certain way. Just put a 1 if you've ever been on a date. A 1 if you've ever gone on a date, right? Because when I say go on a date, most of us can imagine, or maybe if I say your first kiss, maybe you begin to remember that. But there was a certain way that you thought it was going to be. And there's a certain way that a kiss happens. One, your lips got to kiss somebody on the cheek, on the forehead, on the hand, on the lips. It's getting a little risque, but a certain way, ordering yourselves in such a way, looking for that specialized formula that really drives you home, that brings you closer to where you want to be. And people that hear me all the time, I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. Where do you want to be? And you need to begin to see it and say, okay, to get there, I think I have to go up this hill, down this valley, around this mountain, and then climb on top of the castle. If that's what it takes, then you have to be prepared for that. How do you do that? You discipline yourself. It's real easy to make money. I say that all the time. Anyone can make money. It could be $1, or it could be $1 million, or $3 million, or $1 billion. But everyone has the ability to make some type of money. So that's not the issue. It's like, how do you go from making $1 to $1 billion? But yet you're kind of doing a similar thing. You're still providing a service. You're still providing a solution. The quality is still there. The value is still there, but there's a difference in the way in which things are done. If you're still trying to wait for people to give you permission, that's a certain way. It just isn't getting you closer to where you want to be. If you're still waiting for individuals to acknowledge that you're brilliant and that your ideal is going to be exactly what the world needs, that's a certain way. Not sure how it can continue to support you. If you got to do everything for yourself, you don't want to hire VA, you don't want to talk to the other business owners. When you go to network, you talk in code. I feel like I'm listening to a James Bond film. We're dropping all type of codes and passwords. That is a certain way. But again, how does it get you closer to where you want to be? If you wanting to date, but every time somebody addresses you about dating, you are resistant, you're not willing to follow up, you meet someone, you don't call, you don't follow up, you don't answer the phone, or you go on the date and you go in your gym clothes when you knew you had dinner date that night, and now they got to wait for you to shower, and then they got to come by, and the reservations are late. That is a certain way to see if they really like you. But there's another way that's a little better, that might move you closer a little sooner. A certain way. Being disciplined enough to do. Mike Tyson said something recently, by the way. Mike is on his way back. He trying. Whatever he's going to do, it's going to be all right. But Mike Tyson has a quote about, everybody has something to say until they get punched in the face. And he said, and then the second thing he said today, he said, discipline is doing what you know should be done, even when you don't like it. Yeah. You know it's going to give you what you want. You don't like it, but you know it has to be done. You got to climb that wall. You got to come off the fence. You got to say, put me in, coach. You got to make that first phone call. You got to write that first post. You got to click that live button. You got to begin to send that email. You got to measure up the cost of time and energy that has been expended because you chose to wait for a moment a certain way. And we all have developed because of our socialization. By the time we were 5 to 7 years old, that's what they're saying now. As early as five, as soon as documented by 7, you've already have began to have paradigms or belief systems and habits that limit you, that are predicated upon the expressions and the acceptance of others. And it limits you. So just think about how old you are right now and how much time has been expended when you've been adjusting, only to repeat patterns that you know are not going to work. You are aware that the pattern is not going to get you the results you wanted. You didn't want a Hyundai, but that's what you got stuck with because that was the most economical car. And everyone said that's what you should get. You shouldn't splurge your money on your Tesla, or you shouldn't splurge your money on your Mercedes Benz or your Harley Davidson motorcycle. A certain way. We were grafted into this certain way of behaving and thinking. And now is the prime time for us to get out of here, to break free even more than we did when we pivoted. Now we can begin to pivot, and we can pivot a little bit more, or maybe stay in that position and just look around. Maybe do a couple of, hey, 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 and see what echoes back at you. Begin to switch up the way. If something worked, let's repeat it. If something was not as successful or you're not uncertain, keep a little bit going and try it another way. And then you develop that special formula. You keep adding a little bit of flavor, like me with my hot peppers, right? Just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. Your opportunities are lying in the ability for you to begin to discipline yourself in such a way that you do those things that you do not want to do, but know they need to be done because it brings you closer to where you want to be. It's real easy for us to all sit here and say, oh, I want to have this business, I want to do that, or this is the COVID time, or I can't do anything, everything's shutting down. I didn't get funded for my PPP. By the way, they're back open. They opened up the gate until the 31st of this month. A certain way. Did you wait to the last minute? Are you going to wait to the last minute this time? Successful people do things in a certain way. They delegate. Many of us are challenged with delegating. They spend money. Many of us are challenged with spending money. They exercise, even if it's just a walk for 20 minutes, but many of us struggle with that too. We don't trust ourselves, and that's why a lot of times we get very comfortable with holding on to the certain way that doesn't give us our results. Because after all, it keeps us safe and comfortable. And then we find ourselves wanting something else. And we've become satisfied. We become satisfied with this ideal of that is possible. It's out there, one day maybe, someday, tomorrow, versus let me give it a shot today. And if it doesn't work, I'll take a break on tomorrow. I'll strategize on someday. Someday I'll re-strategize it and try it again. A certain way. Risk taking, staying organized, having clarity about what you want to do. That's what that is. That's how we can move closer to identifying the highest and greatest parts of who we are, because believe it or not, I'm going to say it every time. You are the best thing growing, and you are exactly who you've been waiting for. Your codes are locked inside of you, and it is up to us to support you in doing that. When you unlock your code, then that means I get another one code that's opened up. They get another code that's opened up. This idea of disillusionment that I'm just going to give up, that maybe this is just too overwhelming. Everybody wants money. I spent the money because I thought it was going to be over. And now what do I do now? You're going to do things in a certain way to get you the results that you desire. And if you're uncertain, then you reach out to people like myself. I'm letting you know about myself. This isn't a trick. Join our family and let's have conversations about what that looks like for your business. Maybe you're still trying to have too much of the old certain way with the pivot, and it's not meshing because now, even though we're not going to have to pivot, we just need to expand and amplify a certain way to get the results that we desire. Absolutely, positively, so it is. This is the Thursday Thought, hosted by Exponential Existence, Personal Mastery Business Development Corporation in Arizona. I am Marrian Efua, and we are here for another Thursday Thought. Our topic tonight is simply referring to a certain way. Episode 402, a certain way of doing things that brings about the result, and that requires discipline and commitment. That requires perseverance. It requires you to trust you that you can do it. It's incremental increases. It doesn't have to be, go from 0 to 100. Maybe it goes from 0 to 50 or 0 to 20. But the gauge is moving, and it is your responsibility to yourself and to your vision and to your beliefs and your hopes and dreams that everything will be available for you because it is. Doing things a certain way. I mean, don't you get enough of being told everything to do? Where now, if we can take control of our morning and our ending, and we can plan out our day, and we can prioritize those things that are on our day, and we can understand where we're trying to get to. And even though we see the new sale on, we're going to keep going faster to get to where we want to be. I'm going to keep repeating that. Where do you want to be? And how soon do you want to get there? The shortest route is you getting in action with discipline, trust, belief, mapping out what you need to get done and where it's going to go. Look at that, studying it. Create your space. So I challenge you. I challenge you to spend the next 7 days. I know today is Thursday, so until next Thursday, spend the next 7 days taking back control of your morning, taking back control of your evening, planning out your day, giving time for your physical wellness, giving time for your mental emotional wellness, for your spiritual wellness, for your finances. And I just don't mean look at your bank. I mean look at your bank account, look at your paychecks, look at your debt. That's your finances. What about your job? Can you apply for a raise? Do you qualify for one? Is there a promotion you can get? How are your social relationships at work, your professional relationships at work, right? And then look at your relationships. What can you do over the next 7 days? Or maybe you just pick one area that you want to just see that if you control and dedicate some time in the morning and some time in the evening and really begin to plan out your day and prioritize and be clear on what your vision and goal is for you, what you agreed to do. Let's see how you feel after that and what do you see happening. The disillusionment will go away because there's nothing that is impossible. Nothing is impossible unless you create it to be so and believe it. The mind is a powerful tool, powerful asset, but it can also bind you and confuse you. That's why you need to be in a family like ours where we can have these kind of candid conversations. where we can make errors and we can spout out things and we can understand that it's just temporary for a permanent purpose, and that is for us to expand and grow. Absolutely, positively expand and grow. Yes, it's going to be fearful, but that's the good fear. That's the fear, like knowing that, you're about to get this great award for all your due diligence that you've been doing, all those silent things that you did. Finally, like that's the kind of feel like, oh, am I going to trip when I walk up the stairs? Am I going to stutter when I talk? Did I get the paper? Do I have my speech? Is there lipstick on my teeth? Right? A certain way. What does it take for you to improve in just one area, one of those 6 areas this week? That you would take control of your mornings and your evenings and plan out your day, prioritize those tasks, limit conversations and diversions for 7 days. That's my challenge to you. And then let's come back here on Thursday. And maybe I'll do a Zoom version and we can all be on Zoom and we can talk about it. Those of you that take on the challenge. I'm going to give you your own honor code. Right? So I don't need to be a part of it. But I thank you all for being here with me on the Thursday Thought. We will be back again on next week, Thursday, as I said, remembering that everything we're doing, everything you desire, everything you want is not going to be taken away from you. There's a conversation that has to happen on a DNA level, on a micro mitochondrial level within you that agrees that you want something greater, something better than where you are, because that's who you are. You yearn for more because that is what you're about. It's not limited, it is exponential, it is expansive, ever expanding, ever evolving, so that you can continue to make the contributions that are required of you as people are waiting for you. And if you're just thinking, I'm going to get a bunch of money, remember I said there's 6 areas. If they're out of balance, so if you got the money but everything else is out of balance, it won't support the money for long. That's why people win lotteries, have great jobs and have horrible stuff, financial things going on. Divorces, affairs, overweight, underweight, angry at everybody, stressed out. Okay. So trust yourself on today. We'll meet back here on next week, Thursday. This has been the Thursday Thought with Dr. Marrian, Sister Efua of Exponential Existence. And I just want you to remember that when things begin to cloud your way, make you feel like you just can't go on, stop, scream out nice and loud, and know that it's only a bad dream until you start to believe it and make it true. Until next time.